Welcome back to Central Valley Talk. This is our Saturday edition. We're here every day talking to businesses, services, people out putting on events, artists, authors, people are doing stuff. We have like 20 different shows, so get involved with one. Come on to a show. Speaking of businesses, are you still in business? Are you trying to grow? Are you trying to make a change? What a crazy time it is to be in business and figure out some of this stuff, especially financing and financial stuff. Growth. Some businesses are trying to grow right now because they see a path to growth. What we've done is we've asked an expert in, Marshawn Govan. Do I say it right?
You said it right this
After
time.
all these years,
you got it
Marshawn
right
Govan.
this time.
By the way, Marshawn and I are sitting about 10 feet apart. We're being safe. We had our masks on until just now, but we're far enough apart. I think we're okay. What's the prospects right now for funding and resources to grow and expand or do something different?
Well, I think, with this pandemic, people are going to have to start thinking outside of the box and not relying on their traditional bank financing or relying on, customers to, grow their business. Mm-hmm. Because as we know now, we're moving into more restrictive tiers, and that's going to limit, your capacity of how many customers you can have inside of your business, how you operate. So it's changing the dynamics of how businesses are operating, as well as how you're going to sustain yourself and grow. And so what we are, letting people know is a, crowdfunding advisory service. That's an alternative to, just closing your doors, saying I'm done with this pandemic, and pretty much cease to operate. But it's a process that, they have to go through. You can't just go on to any crowdfunding portal and say, hey, I want to raise, 100.7 is what it is. $100,700 is your limit that you can raise money with, just self-certifying your financials.
That's your max?
Well, that's not your
minimum.
max. That's just your threshold. And then anything greater than that, you have to provide audited financial statements, where you're going to have to go through a process of, finding a CPA, paying for, them to review your financial documents, where, you're going to have 2 years of those records. So you're looking at 24 months. And if you're a kind of a business that is used to doing things on paper, this is not going to, this is not going to work for you. You have to have
a crowdfunding advisory service. So you would help people get this together.
Correct. We're going to help them, organize their financial reports, because they got to have their profit and loss, their balance sheets, their income statements, their cash flow, their inventory, their assets. It's a consolidated financial report. They're going to either have to use QuickBooks or Xero, depending on the company. They might outgrow those two types of programs, where we actually have another program that's a cloud-based accounting program that provides for multiple entities, and it actually is pretty sophisticated, software. So we're providing the tools as well as the accounting expertise for them to be able to transition into a different, way of operating and doing business, and at least sustaining themselves. Because what we're offering them is not 100% guarantee that they can go onto a portal, but from our experiences, and we're not telling them to do something that we haven't already done before. You're going to just sit there and just wait for months and months and months. And, time is money right now.
Yep.
And if you don't have those financials, organized and in a way that they're wanting to see it, and it also goes back to your articles of incorporation. So we help you with the articles of incorporation, the amending of your articles of incorporations, being able to, look at your stocks, as far as, do you have enough stocks to offer to the public? Then that's going to go off of your waterfall analysis, your cap tables. These are some of the terminologies that you're going to start, getting questions back when you fill out your application, how that process works. And so, it's going to, benefit you on saving time and money, as well as not have to, pay more than you have to, by having those things already organized. And we're not just your tax company. We are our tax advisory as well as your consultant company that will help you with all of those things that are necessary. And once you actually get past that process, we have our own Fresno crowdfunding advisory portal where you can offer it to accredited investors, which is unlimited. You can raise an unlimited amount of money, and we'll help you with your form filing to get your registrations
But when you hit
submitted.
that crowdfunding, you want all that together.
You all have to get a correct.
You want to answer every possible question before. Well, let me tell you this. I went to business school in the 1980s, so I've heard a lot of those terms you're saying, and they made us do a financial statement.
Yeah.
But one thing I knew when I got out of business schools, I don't want to do that stuff. I don't want to figure all that out. But you do it over and over and over. So
Yeah.
you kind of know what's needed and got some cookie cutter approaches, I would imagine. And
Well, I wouldn't say it's a cookie cutter. I think everything is standard format.
format.
When like you said, nobody wants to do that work. Some days I don't want to do that work. I mean, you have somebody you have a dedicated accountant assigned to that business that would actually know that, that business, financial reports. And they're going to pretty much, get it in shape. We're like your coach. It's like if you go to the gym and, you just don't start off doing the heavy weights. And that's what crowdfunding is. You're jumping into the heavyweight arena, but you got to be able to have everything, warm up and get yourself in shape. Because if you don't, you're not going to qualify to even, get into the ring, with the capital formation. And so, there's been a lot of changes, especially coming down from the government, where now they're understanding that businesses are struggling to get to this point where they can raise capital. And if you go back and look at the history and some of the case studies, I believe $4 trillion has been raised, from crowdfunding or private equity and private offerings. Fresno is in a position of agriculturally wise, we generate, the number one city in the nation. But when it comes to crowdfunding and looking at technology and softwares, we are not in any ranking. And so for us to say that, we're actually changing the way we do business, we're not just your typical tax company where here's the bill, and then you're going off to operate business as usual. We're actually taking you through a whole nother process, and we're redesigning on how this business is going to operate, looking at the long term and future, and we're actually developing partnerships. So if you were to pay us, our full consultant fee to actually go through this vetting process to allow you to be able to raise capital, you also are invested into our company where now you have some equity stake, because we want to make sure that we're developing the right relationships with the right businesses and we're actually having the right partners. So if we're successful, you're successful. If you're successful, we're successful. And we also offer, a percentage base, which is almost like commission based, instead of saying, here's this upfront bill. You can pay monthly. Or, we can look at, the viability of your business, and we'll take the risk and say, you know what, we will go ahead and take a 3% or 4% equity stake in your company. And then, we would do all the work for you and still, because like I said, at the end of the day, we want to make sure that you're successful and then we're successful. And it, you pretty much, it's going to be transparent.
You're not just taking their money, you're putting your
Time. We're putting, our equity and also our knowledge into this company as well to make them successful and grow. And, we're not just going to leave you with, like I said, a traditional kind of accounting firm to leave you with a bill. You can come to us where we're looking at long-term development, long-term growth. And, you got to also protect your most valuable resources, which is your employees. So we offer the voluntary benefits, for your employees. What are you going to give them to incentivize them to stick around? They're going to need that vision, that group, that medical, that disability insurance, things that are actually helping them take care of their families and kids. How are you going to continue to pay for those things if you don't have the income coming in to support your business? And so we actually go through a holistic approach financially when we're, taking care of the, taking these businesses on, and we're engaging each other on, what we're doing to, make things more profitable and bring in more income. Because if your business is, not at the $1 million range now, and when they actually made an amendment to the rules, before it was like, hey, you can raise $1 million. Now you can raise $5 million.
Wow.
So that's actually now expanding to more households and more people that are able to invest into companies. And then the other regulation is Regulation A. It went from actually 50 million to 75 million. Now that's where, you can actually bring in a lot more money. So what would a company do with 75 million? What would a company do in Fresno with 5 million?
Right.
You know, we're going to help you, you know, reach that, you know, that milestone, you know, and of course, you know, you're going to go to the quarterbacks because the quarterbacks of the game is going to be those, you know, registered funding portals, you know, those broker dealers and your lawyer that's going to bless, you know, your financials as far as your risk. And they're going to also say that, you know, you've disclosed everything to someone that is interested in investing into your company and they understand the risk.
Right.
And so with that said and done, you know, it's actually, you know, a background check's going to have to be done on the company. You know, you can't be someone that's scrupulous and trying to get someone to, you know, invest into your company and you do ill-gotten gains. So that's not the kind of business that we're in. And so that's why it's a careful process and a selective process because, you know, these laws were established first off by President Barack Obama in 2012. He actually allowed it to where he said, we're going to try to, you know, help these small businesses raise private money from, you know, investors. And then, you know, it trickled on down now to they just now made an amendment to harmonize these rules and these processes because they knew it was overly complicated. You know, and I'm speaking from personal opinion. I know what it costs for us to get our books audited. You know, it was over 30 grand.
Wow.
30 grand. That's for them to actually go through all of our books and audit. And then you're going to pay for the lawyer fee. The lawyer fee, just to, you know, just for the retainer, you're looking at 10. So if a business is going to, you know, you're going to look at a $50,000 package. If you're serious about this, and how you're going to get there is you start off with, you know, up to 107,000 or up to the 5 million part. But if you remember, if you raise over that amount, you're going to have your financials audited. And so, you know, it's just a way to go. I mean, if you're still thinking of, you know, operating business as usual, you can't right now because we're in a pandemic.
Right.
You
Well,
know?
let me ask you this. Let's say somebody's watching right now. They say, well, this is what I need. I mean, I don't want to go pay CPAs for all this. I want to get somebody who provides this service. Where do they start? Should they go to their website? Should they just phone you up? Should they show up at your front door?
Well, you know, you can go on the website. You can create a client account. You can actually go and upload your documents all via web. Some people don't trust uploading their stuff via web. You can fax in information to us. You can actually talk to us on the telephone. We can Zoom. You know, we can do Zoom meetings.
What if they just want to find out more about what you do?
If they want to find out more about us, they can go to our website.
website,
It's
yeah.
mkgtaxconsultants.com. There's links on there on how do you, and if you're a person that is having the idea of starting a business, we help you with incorporating a business for free. All you do is you pay for your state filing fees. If you want to open up a bank account, we have relationships with different banks where we help you open up a bank account online. If you're trying to get a business loan or a line of credit, we also help you with the line of credit, depending on your credit. Minimum line of credit is about $500 based on your credit score, up to $100,000 or $10,000, correction, for the business line of credit. And that's a MasterCard that's going to come in the mail. The other one is if you're a business looking for a business loan, then, of course, that's going to be, a difficult challenge right now because you're going to look at your cash flow and you got to have at least a 600 credit score and above.
How about people who are going to pivot their business a little right now? Would this be the way to go?
It will be the way to go. I mean, there's businesses that are doing really well right now in this pandemic, and those businesses are going to be some of the financial businesses, companies that are, manufacturing, pharmaceuticals like Pfizer, and the other one is Moderna. They're doing well right now because why? It's a recession-proof. Everyone needs this vaccination. It's supply and demand, and what your business and what your business model is. If you have some equity, or at least your business is something that we know that is scalable. I mean, it's what are your risks are? What other risks do you have to not take besides, wait until the end of the year to file your taxes? We are, your back office partners all year long to support you 12 months out of the year.
Marshawn's been coming here for years now. I recommend him. He's a great guy. He's talking over my head. He really knows this stuff. And I don't want to become an expert on that. I want to do my business and let someone else handle the stuff that I don't do. So tell them where to go again. The website?
The website is mkgtaxconsultants.com. There is going to be a consultant fee because, what we're also going to do is we're going to do 2 years of your financial statements. We're not going to just say, we're going to go back and we're going to look at 24 months of your bank records, your histories, and we're going to give you processes and tools to streamline getting you to where going forward, all you're going to do is click a button here or there, and it's going to make things a lot more easier. And it's easier for you also on your tax, at the end of the year for filing your taxes, whether your CPA does it or who does it, whatnot. But we also have the ability now to you can track the time that it's going to be able to take us spending on your books. Where if you sent me some information and then I looked at it for 5 minutes, and then I say, well, here's a $500 bill for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We want to make sure there's transparency there, and that's what we're doing. Everything is fully transparent. And that's why the investors that are going to invest in your business also has to have that transparency there, because these rules, like I say, were established by Congress. And of course, there is an oversight, to everything that we're doing here, whether it's private, exempt security offerings, and you have to register them. If you go out and do it without registering your securities, then you're asking for the fines and anything else that comes down the pipeline.
Problem. Well, that's why we go to a professional like Marshawn Govan at
mkgtaxconsultants.com. Or if you just look up Fresno Capital Formation, it's not going to be a lot of companies that is going to know. Google it, Fresno Capital Formation.
Okay.
We also offer an online radio show that's twice a week. That's also Fresno Capital Formation. And so we constantly put out information for people to, listen in or replay. We're also in Spotify. We're on Audible. Mm-hmm. So what we're talking about here is just not limited to Fresno. So sometimes Fresno is a little not enthusiastic to hear what I have to say, but the world is listening and the world is watching. So it's something that will eventually evolve. And if we pretty much, we don't want to say everyone jumps on a bandwagon where now it's in the news and now this new business is doing these things. Well, it's been here for years, as go back and look at centralvalleytalk.com live on YouTube, and you'll see we're talking about the same thing, that we talked about a year ago or 2 years ago.
That's right. We are out of time. This is Central Valley Talk. Thanks, Marshawn.
Thanks again, Mike.
People don't even know this exists, and I'm glad you're here for that
Yeah,
reason,
pandemic is still here, and once again, what are you going to do? You're going to still operate your business the way you want to operate, or are you going to take it to the next level? And we're here to help you take it to the next level.
Right. Thank you, Marshawn. We will be back right after this.
If you're on Medicare and Medicaid in the state of California, you may be able to get more benefits at no additional cost. A United Healthcare dual If you're on Medicare and Medicaid in the state of California, you may be able to get more benefits at no additional cost. A United Healthcare Dual Complete Plan combines your Medicare and Medi-Cal coverage to give you more benefits than original Medicare. If you have Medicare and Medi-Cal, call Paris Clough, an independent insurance agent, at 559-825-1678. That's 559-825-1678. This plan is available to anyone who has both medical assistance from the state